these 7 money mistakes you are making is costing you effort. There are certain items that you shouldn't buy because you cannot afford it.
Even if you want to borrow, you have to borrow to invest.
And invest. Most people don't save, invest, nothing.
Stop trying to impress your friends by always trying to meet their needs. Please, you can't solve all problems.
For lack of knowledge, when you know, you'll be informed. And a well-informed investor is a well-protected investor. Once you know what your rights are, what your options are available for you, you'll be guided right. I always say that, look, the money that you are putting aside, you would have spent it. And when I try to preach this message of saving and investment, I go very low. I say that put 1 cedi down every day. For a year, that's 365 cedis.
Yeah.
But then when you speak 365 cedis to somebody, they will say, but I just 365 for a whole year.
Yeah.
But the question is that at the end of 12 months, you would have 365 cedis down. You would have spent that money anyway.
Yeah.
But then keep that money down for 30 years. When I did the calculation with about 50% average interest, is over $1 million. Hi, my name is James. Welcome to the Millennial Money Group Podcast. This is a platform dedicated to helping young, ambitious professionals and business owners master their money, monetize their skills, scale their businesses, and build wealth. The truth is that most young people end up wasting a lot of money in their youthful days and later regret. Are you doing the same? And what are even these mistakes? And how can you avoid them? In today's conversation, we are going to break down top biggest mistakes that most young professionals are making that is costing them a lot of money and is putting many into debt and many situations that they are not ready to put themselves in. At the end of this conversation, you will walk away with actionable steps, practical ways to manage your money so you can build a long-lasting wealth for yourself and for the generation after you. So if you are ready, let's dive right in. So hello, Philip.
James.
Welcome to the show.
Thank you.
In today's conversation, we're diving into the biggest money mistakes that young people are making that is costing them fortunes. Some people are not even aware that everyday decisions that they are making are actually worse financial decisions. That is actually keeping them broke and preventing them from building wealth. What do you have to say about this general thing about money mistakes?
So, if you don't teach your money where to go, your money will teach you rather where you have to spend it. So, it's a strategy every youth must learn. If you want to build a generational wealth, if you want to have your financial freedom, there are certain things you should avoid as a youth.
Yeah.
And one of the things that I think most youths, I was once a victim, and spending above your limits.
So number one
for me, spending above your limits. Everybody has got this or their own limitations.
Yeah.
And so if you know your boundaries, you don't go beyond it.
Yeah.
If you look at the kind of income you're generating, how multiple streams you have, and you accumulate all this money, and you know that at the end of the month you are getting like $3,000 as a youth. How do you spend within this limitation?
Yeah.
For your limit is $3,000
a month as your income.
As your income.
Yeah.
How do you spend this money? Though if you don't discipline yourself, you always go and borrow.
And that's why business like Quick Loan and MTN, some people have actually thrown away
their chips.
You have thrown away your chips because, as Philip is just saying, look, it's because you are spending beyond your means, or in other words, not living within your means. Living within your means that like the popular saying goes, like cut your coat according to your size, as others will say, no, cut your coat according to your cloth.
Yeah.
So you have to look at yourself. Look, there are certain items that you shouldn't buy
Don't buy.
because you cannot afford it. There are certain things that you should not put your money in because you don't.
There's no return in that.
Exactly. And if you see somebody using the latest iPhone or using nice clothes and yeah, your body shaking, you must look. The question is that
Can you afford it?
can you afford it? Or do you have to borrow to finance that, or you can comfortably buy it and have excess?
And even we don't even put wisdom in our borrowing. We always borrow to finance our spending.
To consume.
To consume. We always want to consume.
It's a national problem.
You borrow to consume. I mean, there is
Yeah.
no value in borrowing and then adding to your
Consuming.
consumption. Even if you want to borrow, you have to borrow to
And
invest.
invest. All right.
But you've spent outside your 3,000 Ghana cedis, and at the end of the month, you are hiding behind people's doors and people's houses because you are owing the next guy for that helps you
Yeah.
go out of your
Yeah.
struggles.
Okay, so mistake number 2 that I want young people to avoid, it is directly linked to spending above your limit. It's also not having a budget. Look, a budget gives you the discipline to be able to track and monitor your expenses as you go on. You would always spend above your limit if you don't discipline yourself to have a budget that defines how much you should spend based on how much is coming in. Look, a budget is the tool that help you track your expenses and your income and gives you the discipline to stick to a certain schedule. So let's say, with the example that you gave, your monthly income is 3,000, 3K a month. And then you ask yourself, during this month, how much money am I going to spend? And on what items am I going to spend money on? You should be able to plan it and write them down and allocate how much you want to spend on these items. That would help you track where every CD is going. I also mentioned that look, you can draw all kinds of budget you want. If you lack the discipline to say that, okay, on my clothing this month, I want to spend 500 cedis on my clothing this month. I am going to spend that money on food. You can draw all kinds of budgets. You will break it. So not having a budget is a mistake that you should avoid if you want to make a future.
The third one is impulse buying.
Mm.
I've always been a big hit.
Yeah.
But then recently, I was able to discipline myself for the past 7 months. I think I'm able to reduce the tendency of buying anything that I see.
What do you
So-
buy often?
So, because I love tech stuff, anything I see about tech, I buy.
Yeah.
Then-
Just shelving tech devices.
Oh, sorry. I was struggling.
Mm.
Maybe you are struggling like me, but I've been able to overcome it. The impulse buying simply means that buying goods and services you did not plan ahead of it.
And you don't need it like,
It's just because your emotions dictated that you should buy this.
yeah.
And before you go home, you regret it.
Mm-hmm.
That why did I even buy this?
Yeah.
And so one of the key things to do is to discipline yourself. Just as you said rightly that anytime you see that your emotions are driving you to buy anything, you must pause and give yourself like 2 minutes and ask yourself these critical questions. Do I need this? And under these 2 minutes, your brain will then recycle itself and come back to you right saying that this that you want to buy, you don't actually need it. And so you can pause and
Think
then
about
and
it.
think about it and then take the decisions.
Yes.
And after the pause, any decision that you take, it will then reflect with your inner feeling that
Yes.
I actually need this item or I don't need it.
Yeah.
So the number 3 thing you must avoid is impulse buying.
I think people suffer that, and we all do. But I think the framework you gave is very good. Also, we buy for several reasons. You buy for necessity, which is to survive. You buy for prestige, which is to keep up with the Joneses and, also appear and impress people. That is in your list of wants. So mostly the impulse buying happens in the wants where you just want to impress people. Look, people really don't care about. No, it's a car. I've gotten to realize that look, very few people care about the car you are driving. So please don't live your life trying to impress people. Directly linked to that is this number one mistake that I believe most people are doing that they should avoid. Not having any financial goal or any financial objective. Look, the reason why people would suffer or would do very much impulse buying is because they have no idea where they want to be financially. Look, if you have a goal of saving up to 1 million in the next 5 to 10 years, you will not waste your money buying things that you wouldn't need. If you are investing towards buying your dream car or building your dream house, every one city counts. So not having a financial goal is actually one of the biggest things that you should avoid. Set a financial goal, no matter how small it is. And I usually tell people that break it into three different steps. Look, have a short term, have a medium term, and have a long term. So break your financial plan in that context. Put money down immediately so that you can get access to the money within a year. And then put something that would cover you between 1 year and to 5 years, and then 10 years after. When you break your financial planning in this way, you will be more disciplined and motivated to put money down.
One of the mistakes as a youth, or I mean, when you begin to make some small coins, and coin means you are beginning to make some,
Yeah.
you have some paychecks, and then you are able to make some money. You begin to see other people's minus. You begin to see other people's weakness, and when you see their weakness, you want to quickly jump in and solve their problems.
Solving too many problems for people.
Lending to peers that are not reliable. Or they will not they will not be able to pay you back. But it's like you are putting yourself in their shoes. Oh, this my friend is suffering.
Mhm.
He needs 3,000 dollars to go and rent.
Mhm.
I'm paid 4,000. Let me give you 2,000.
You say you will bring the money back.
The money back in the next 2 months.
Yes.
I'm not saying don't help your friend,
Yeah.
but I'm saying that before you do this kind gestures, please stay back and think twice. Is this person reliable? Can this person pay me back?
Yeah.
If you are just giving it to him as a gift, and probably he's not going to pay back, then that is your decision.
Yeah.
But if you are giving it to the person to pay you back, then please, you have to think twice. So stop trying to impress your friends by always trying to meet their needs.
Over lending.
Or over caring. You care too much that you always want to solve everybody's problem.
Everybody's problem.
Please, you can't solve all problems. You have to solve some and leave some for others to kind of solve.
Thank you so much. You can't solve all problems. Solve some and leave some for others. The next mistake that I believe young people are making based on our own experience is not saving / investing enough or at all. Most people don't save, invest nothing. And it's a very big problem. I always say that, look, the money that you are putting aside, you would have spent it. And when I try to preach this message of saving and investment, I go very low. I say that put 1 cedi down every day. For a year, that's 365 cedis.
Yeah.
But then when you speak 365 cedis to somebody, they will say, but I just 365 for a whole year.
Yeah.
But the question is that at the end of 12 months, you would have 365 cedis down. You would have spent that money anyway.
Yeah.
But then keep that money down for 30 years. When I did the calculation with about 50% average interest, is over $1 million Ghana cedis. And by 30 years from now, whatever how old you are, if you have $1 million Ghana cedis in your bank account, and I know on the average, most people can do more than 1 cedi.
Yeah.
So imagine you are doing 20 cities, or you are doing 30 cities, you are doing 50 cities, you are doing 500 cities, you are doing 1,000 cities. Putting it down for 5, 10, 15, 20 years. Imagine how much money you would have in your bank account at the end of that period of time. But most of us never think about that. The principle of compounding interest, keeping the money down such that if you put one CD down today and the interest is 1%, it will be calculated on the one CD. And then when the one CD is added, then you get like two CD, for example.
Yeah.
The next interest will be calculated on the two CD, and you get three CDs. Like that. So your money, the little money that you put down, is compounding over time, and it is becoming a big amount of money. So most people are not saving at all, and there are some avenues to save. Susu box, walk into any of the approved financial institutions licensed by the Bank of Ghana or the SEC. So that, okay, look, I'm a young person. This how much I have. I want at the end of 10 years, I should have this amount of money in my bank account. They will give you an investment plan.
Yeah.
They will guide you. And there are also a lot of fintech solutions that would even allow you to put money down. But the caution is that please make sure that wherever that you are putting your money, do your due diligence. That money or that organization that you're going to invest with, make sure that they are licensed by the financial regulators. Full disclaimer, we are not licensed financial advisors. All that we are telling you, we are telling you a very basic thing that you can do. That is, please don't spend all your money. At least save some. And it's very simple. You can decide to spend 50% of your money and then allocate 20% to other things and probably put 10% now. I hope you're a Christian and believe in tithing. You can put 10% for God. You'll be left with about 90%.
So 50, 20, 10, 20.
Would work for you. You understand? And that will make your life easier.
The sixth one is what I call lack of knowledge about personal finance. Most of the educational system, and it's the educational system we have.
Yeah.
Nobody teaches you how to save. Nobody teaches you how to grow your money.
Yeah.
Nobody teaches you about loans. Learn how to do all these things, and then you'll be free to do whatever you want to do as a individual. You can build your wealth through personal finance. So
education is very key, please. And that's why we are having this particular conversation. It's part of the education because for lack of knowledge, when you know, you'll be informed. And a well-informed investor is a well-protected investor. Once you know what your rights are, what your options are available for you, you'll be guided rightly. So take some time to understand all these things about savings, personal finance, and your expenditure and everything, which would really help you. To add the last but another important mistake is borrowing too much. So with the advent of technology, it has made borrowing very easy. A traditional bank will require a lot of information from you before they may give you money. But quick loan or Fido, you can easily borrow,
just give it to you.
And follow your credit worthiness through the amount of airtime that you buy. Because of that, most people are borrowing and they are chasing them. Recently, some of those fintech platforms were even publishing your names to your families. They will just say this person has borrowed from us. Please, look, the first point I will mention, live within your means. If you really live within your means, you would not be compelled to borrow. You understand? So try as much as you can to avoid debt. Well, some would argue that debt is good, but look, unproductive debt has no benefits. So, of course, there may be some emergency you may need to borrow, but even having an emergency fund will prevent you from borrowing. So try as much as you can to avoid all this enticing the way.
You know a guy, he's called Francis. He has been borrowing for the past 3 years and he has been using about, thanks to the fintech solutions. Now you can get like 5 or 10 chips. He used to get like 20 chips. He borrow, he throw it away, borrow, throw it away.
That's very bad.
That's very bad.
Yeah.
Why is if you are watching, you stop.
So the last thing that I believe we need to talk about is not having multiple sources of income. Because look, people make all of these money mistakes because they are not generating enough income. Please discipline yourself, develop skills, and earn from multiple sources. Let your full-time job pay you. Let your side hustle pay you. And on this platform, we are dedicated to sharing many practical ways that you can earn money online, achieve your financial goals. So if you love this conversation about money mistake that you should avoid, and you have now understood some of the mistakes that you are making and you are disciplining yourself to stop, we encourage you to keep it up. Please, our data shows that most of you just watch the video and you don't just subscribe. We would love to grow this community and hear from you. So we encourage you to subscribe now, share the video, and let us know what you think about this video and what we should talk about next time. So this has been the Millennial Money Group Podcast. Until we come your way, bye bye.